Hello, welcome to GoobTube. My name's Goob, and this is my YouTube. So, welcome to my sketchbook tour. Ignore the backdrop, this is the only thing I had. Then we also have little Apple Bear to join us for our tour. Say hello. Hello, little Apple Bear. So, first page, these are my OCs. These are my previous OCs from last year that I used to draw for Art Fight that I did not finish. Like their stories, I didn't finish their stories. But I did have their designs. So this is Captain, and this is Guppy. And they are pirates that are in love. This is Lenny here. This is Gustavik, and this is Onyx. It's a little comic, not a comic, but a little scene of them talking about Lenny, because it looked kind of like a bear, but it got interpreted as a seal one time. So I just kind of wanted to play with that idea. Then here is where I experimented a little with the Chikawa style, because I really like Chikawa. Usagi! And some more drawings of them. And here is where the magic started of the whole fruit bear thing. If you don't know me, I like bears. I love bears. They're like one of the reasons why I keep going in life. And I really like drawing them. I really like their form. I really like how silly they are. So I wanted to capture that. Their silly goofiness. And their size. And you can probably see where the fruit bear thing kind of started to take shape. Because their forms here are very fat. Just to put it there. But yeah, I used artist lock colored pencils for these, and here is another experimental page. A lot of the first few pages are very experimental, as in I kind of just like did whatever. But you'll see what's really cool effect. You'll see at the end. You'll see how my style starts to solidify, if that makes sense. So I was trying to figure. At the time, I didn't really like my art style. So I was just trying to do different things to see what sticks for me. More bears. Ooh, they're not in frame. More bears. Yee! I love looking at these pages because they're so cute. And here is where it started. So this is the first fruit bear spread that I did. This is where I experimented with watercolors. And watercolors is definitely a medium that I want to improve on. Well, this is not my first time doing watercolors, but I wanted to get back into it. So I wanted to try it out with little apple bears. I'll show you what watercolors I use because I really like them. It's these ones. The reason why I have this is because Cassie the Golden, Cassie Golden reviewed these one time, and I think I was like 8. Not 8, I think I was like 12 or something, and I saw this video of her reviewing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this. I also use watercolor pens from here. Ooh, this is the brand, but I think I was gifted this by a family member, and I just kind of kept using them because I'll be honest, I don't really know how watercolor pens work, so I just open the cap, I just start scribbling, and it kind of works. So you can see it here. So this page is where I did more experimenting on colored pencils. You can definitely see here that I wanted to play with like just stacking colors onto each other. So here you can see in the honey pear bear, there's some yellow, mostly yellow as a base, but there's some oranges here, some deep browns, and some green. And over here as well in the apple bear, got some yellow for highlights. Mostly red, but there's also some hints of pink and purple, and some, I think this is brown or like blue. No, I think it's like green. I think I used green for just those deeper shadows. Here I did more apple bears, and there's also some blueberries here with the watercolors. Here I wanted to introduce more fruit bears. So we got some strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, pear bears, orange, I think this is supposed to be a blackberry, but at the time I didn't know how to draw it, and I looked in your references. But I just redesign them. You'll see in the later if I can get to there. Here I found some markers just laying around, and I just kind of want to scribble on, see how it looks. Then we got some banana bears. I think someone suggested that they wanted to see banana bears, so I was like, okay. So I did banana bears, and here's a banana bear sundae. I used, I think I used alcohol markers for these. And here are some early designs of Goob and Doodle. At first, I wanted to make them half human, half animal, but you'll see on my account that they're just full animals now. I like that. I like their designs now, but this is their early one. So originally he was going to be a leaf slug, and she was going to be a half bear, half human. Here's some early sketches of an illustration that I did. I asked myself the question, would you pick from the apple bear tree? And I want to visualize that looking up into the tree of apple bears, because fun fact, first fun fact of the video, fruit bears, they grow similar to regular fruit. So they do grow from a flower, from a flower's ovary, and they can come from the tree, a vine, tree, vines, or bushes, wherever the regular fruit would be grown in. And then here's some pear bears. This one is a regular green pear bear. I don't remember what this one's called, but it has like yellowing on it. And this one's a Concord bear. Look up Concord pears. They are like, they're just really long pears. It's really funny to look at. And then here's the illustration of that question. So I used colored pencils, and I dated this. I dated this on December 4th of last year. Ooh. But yeah, here it is. And I made this, and I digitalized this. I digitalized this and just added more details so it looks a little smoother. But yeah, that's what it looks like on the print. But yeah, would you pick an apple bear from the tree? Let me know in the comments. And here's are some more fruit bears people just suggested, which is mangoes, pomegranates, some dragon fruit. I use alcohol markers, I think, for these. And then here I use crayons. I wanted to try crayons, so you can definitely see that. Here, got some lemon bear, and these are twin cherry bears. Fun fact of the video. Cherry bears are always twins, so they grow together and they live by their side always until they move on to the next life. And here is probably one of my favorite pages. These fruit bear sketchbook spreads are like my favorite pages. I like how I organize all of them, and also these are suggested by you guys from Instagram. At the time, I frequently asked on my story like what fruit bears I should draw, and I just drew them here for a video. And I don't know, maybe that's just why I hold them near and dear to my heart, because it kind of just shows that people are interested enough to suggest what other fruits there are for me to make them into a bear. Here is where I started to introduce tomato bears, because the whole question of, is tomato a fruit or vegetable? They're both. They look like a vegetable, but they're actually fruit. So, fun fact, fruit bears are herbivores. They have a herbivorous diet. So they mostly eat plants and vegetables. Actual vegetables. Not vegetable bears. We'll get to vegetable bears in a minute. So they confuse tomato bears with food, as seen here. But that's okay, because they are just fruit bears, very curious creatures. But they also are very accepting to have them part of their group. Here I did this for Christmas. I just drew them with little silly, cute little hats. Here's some sketches I did for a video. No, not video, but like for real. Just giving an informational guide on how to tell a regular fruit from a fruit bear. So, of course, you can see here, you can tell different because there's little bear face and little legs on the fruit. There's also slightly bigger than the regular fruit, and they're not edible. Do not eat them, please. They don't taste good. Fun fact, fruit bears don't taste good. They have a very strong, bitter taste to them. Unless you like that. Let me know in the comments, would you eat a fruit bear? Sorry guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I gotta get engagement So here I was just designing my Sona for myself. This is what I drew myself at the time. I wanted to just make myself look cool. So I gave myself a wolf cut with some dyed my ends red and a little flower, and I have a farming attire and a flower on my head because it pays homage to my very first OC that I made in 2018. Here is a still life of fruits that I wanted to make into bears. I did with watercolors as well. And here someone suggested me to draw a tiger fruit, which are really cool. So every individual like pod is a bear. Oh my gosh, here are some cashew apple bears. Did you know that cashews come from an apple? I didn't know that. So yeah, it's a little cashew apple bears. That little buddy, little cashew buddy. So here it is. Here's a more not proper, but here's a more clear drawing of them. Ah, so cute. And here is where, yep, this is where I made vegetable bears canon. I think I watched like a couple videos about watercolor techniques and I wanted to apply it to a still life of vegetables that I saw on Google. And here is another spread of exotic bears that people suggested me in one of my previous stories. So you can start seeing now that I am more defined in my style, especially with coloring, and to how the bears look. Now here is Doodle. This is like more early designs as well, but I made it into a garden snail now. There's some more. Ignore that. That's not canon. So here is also some redesigns for the berries. For the berry bears, because I wanted to launch them for the first time on my shop, so I wanted to redesign them in a way that it's clear that they're different berries. So here I started to like actually look at what blackberries look like. They're more like oval shaped, and raspberries are more triangle shaped, and blueberries are just big and round. And here is some final-ish designs of, well, it's kind of early, but now it's kind of like finalized for both Doodle and Goop. Me! More pear bears. Woo! But yeah, you can definitely see that my style, let's compare. You can see definitely the difference from this page, from when I first started out like last year, and this one is like probably like a couple months ago. Kind of crazy. Now here is probably one of also my favorite pages. You got a tomato bear, potato, bell pepper, peas in a pod, smelly onion, smelly garlic, ooh, Brussels sprout, broccoli, celery, carrot, and radish, and ginger. Here is another spread. I used crayons for this one, and I really like how vibrant they are. I think I did a really good job of this. And here I wanted to play around with the vegetable bears and put them into actual food. Here's some more. I really like these because this is where I'm starting like, yeah, I got my style. I got my coloring style. I'm pretty happy with it. I really like looking back at these, looking through these, and just see like the progress that I've done from last year to like now. It's really nice to look back on. Here is, I think I used Prismacolors for these. But here are some apple bears. I'm really proud of this one because I just like look at this. Really nice. Here was for I drew this for Pride Month because double rainbows, cool. And here in the last few pages, I don't really have back here, but this is the last few pages. I was doing OC designs, not OC. I was doing character design for a D&D campaign that I'm in. And this is for my character. I don't want to be. And the characters that you see in the next few pages are clones of her. Kind of playing with the idea of like the butterfly effect, I guess. If you changed one thing in your life in the past, how different would you be now? This is all of her, by the way. This one's if she transitioned. This one if she was feral. This one if she basically gained like a muscle deterioration disease, and she just turned her flesh into metal. I make her look scary. So there's just some early designs for that. This one is Little Bear. I saw an Instagram post of like a pigeon. I'll show it up on screen. It's really funny. And I want to draw an apple bear version of that. Here, I was like doing some designs for a magical version of the apple bear for like a little animation. So this is some her designs of that. And yeah, that's oh my god, yeah, that's it.
Hello, editing goob here. I forgot to mention my whole reason of making a sketchbook tour. I've been in a little bit of a slump lately, especially with my art, but I think I said it earlier in the video. It's nice to look back on what I did beforehand and to see where I am at now. Just a nice little checkpoint. I implore you to look back at your old work, look back at your old art, see where you're at now and what you've made progress on. I promise you, it's a good thing. Maybe there's something in your old art that you really like that you want to bring back, or maybe there's not. You're gonna cringe a little bit looking at it, but that's kind of part of the process. Yeah, I do have a new sketchbook ready, so let me know what you want me to draw in for the first page. It could be something, could be a fruit bear, vegetable bear, something along those lines. Thank you for watching. The Fruit Bears and I appreciate your visit today.